If you're listening to this right now, your mind probably won't stop racing. Maybe you're replaying conversations, worrying about tomorrow, or just feeling wired even though you're exhausted. Tonight, we're going to very gently quiet the mind and guide your nervous system into deep sleep. In just a moment, you're going to experience an Ericksonian induction. I'd like to suggest that you experience this induction both experientially and by taking the time to simply listen, and you'll begin to discover for yourself that both consciously and unconsciously you'll begin to learn and to recognize indirect suggestions which you can begin to use for the induction of hypnosis, as well as to bring about therapeutic change. So now, one of the first things that a person does when they go into trance they may look at one spot. They don't need to move. They don't need to talk. They don't need to do anything except let their unconscious mind take over and do everything. And the conscious mind doesn't have to do anything. It's usually not even interested. You're going to find out a lot of new things about yourself. Only you'll really know what you're going to find out until after you found it out. Now, you may wonder, will you experience a light, medium, or deep level trance? And your conscious mind may choose one, while your unconscious mind will let you go deeply into trance and experience at the level that's right for you. Sooner or later, you'll begin to find that your eyes simply want to close. They can do that now or in a few moments. And perhaps you can begin to discover that as I've been speaking with you, there are certain changes And you can notice these. Perhaps you can notice how your breathing has changed. The muscles of your face beginning to loosen. A feeling of comfort. And you can simply enjoy that comfort as it begins to grow. And I know from past experience that your pulse has changed, that your blood pressure has lowered, and that it's simply easy for you to begin to learn in many ways. As you simply continue to enjoy the comfort without any need to do anything, I'm going to talk to you, and sooner or later, you will discover that your conscious mind doesn't even need to pay attention to the words that I speak, for your unconscious mind is here and will simply hear all I say, letting you learn in many ways. Now, everyone has certain difficulties, and you can begin to wonder about those, and perhaps your unconscious mind will wonder about those difficulties as your conscious mind simply becomes free to drift, to wonder, to enjoy some pleasant memory, or perhaps it will be your conscious mind that looks at those difficulties while your unconscious mind simply begins to find new ways, new solutions to bring about change in a special way. It's very easy to simply listen unconsciously without a need for conscious awareness. And you may wonder what pleasant surprise you can begin to experience now or later when your unconscious mind chooses to simply let you learn something in a very special way. Perhaps it will come as an insight, perhaps as a dream, or an intuitive feeling, which you will begin to use Many people find that you can change much easier than you might expect. For your unconscious mind, everyone's unconscious mind, knows more about you than you do consciously, more about you than my mind, conscious mind, knows about you. For there is that back of the mind, which is an old saying, and the front of the mind. And as you relax and allow yourself more freedom to simply trust your unconscious mind, remembering that in the back of our mind, which is a common phrase, we know a lot of things. And sometimes we have trouble getting those things into the front of our mind. We can have a name on the tip of our tongue, but we can't say it. We don't know what it is, but we know that we know it. And we just can't think of it. But it's there, ready to be said. That's because the unconscious is hanging on to it. And there are so many ways that our unconscious minds can let us learn. And it's interesting how a walk in the woods can create a total change in your life. A friend of mine had grown up in the country. He was a loner. He spent much of his time in the woods at the edge of his home. And as he grew older, walking the animal trails of the woods, learning to identify the trees, the flowers, and you learn so much more than you ever expect. And as he grew older, he began to take longer journeys, trips. He became very interested in backpacking. And one summer, he spent walking the Appalachian Trail. And he began to discover that his love for the woods, for nature, seemed to be fading. It didn't have that same beauty. It didn't have that same comfortable feeling which he had experienced in his youth. And 3 days into the trail, he woke up one morning and began his daily hike. And all of a sudden, it was there, that feeling the exhilaration. He began to discover you can feel good. You can feel confident. When to his surprise, he began to notice that he had left that morning and left his backpack at the previous night's campsite. In walking back, he began to wonder how it is. He began to notice changes. He began to notice, discover the things that have burdened you, held you back. When he reached the camp, he began to realize that all of the gadgets, all of the excess baggage was destroying his pleasure. So he dumped out his backpack, going through everything, and you search through everything that you have for those things that you really need to hold on to, disregarding the rest. And he gave many of the items to passing hikers. Some of them he simply disposed of, putting only those essential things back into his pack. And when he put the backpack on, he began to notice that you can feel that lightness, the lifting of the burdens. And from then on, he enjoyed hiking, but he discovered something. And you always learn from an experience. He discovered an answer that you can use in all of your life. And everyone that's heard this story has found something that they could use. And I wonder what you will find that you can use in a special way if you simply let yourself drift your conscious mind free to wander, to wonder, as your unconscious mind discovers many things in many special ways, a learning which you can use. That's right, because everyone needs to relax at times, even Olympic athletes who are under a great deal of pressure to perform, and sometimes must be perfect to win, need some way to relax and to put things into perspective, to recognize that it is just a sport and not a war between nations. Because a war is one thing, and a game is something else entirely, especially in this atomic age, where a war could mean the end of everything. We really cannot afford to make even the smallest of mistakes. And so some people are terrified that the fail-safe system will fail, and that will be the end of it all because of some tiny little error, somebody doing something wrong, or saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, in the wrong way, to the wrong person, and everything goes up in flames, which is why they have special programs for the people working with those systems, because what they have to do is so dangerous and so terribly important that special training and counseling is required. The only place in the world, perhaps, where mistakes cannot be allowed, and it is comforting to note that almost every place else, an error is just an opportunity to do it differently later on, because perfection is rarely required, and perfection is seldom needed. And even Olympic athletes are never perfect all the time, and sometimes do things wrong, like the Navajos when they weave a rug, who always leave a knot, an imperfection, so the gods won't be angered and think they are trying to be gods themselves. But that is another story about what is really important and what is not, and how it feels to give permission to enjoy the feeling of the freedom to feel safe doing those things, knowing that the world won't end if you leave a knot someplace, so the gods can relax, knowing you are not challenging them, just doing the best you can, letting it go at that. We both know now that you can scare yourself because you have an active mind and a reactive body. And if you think that scary thing, even for a brief moment, it has been scaring you. But we also both know that there are other things you can think, things that are comfortable and calming, relaxing, and reassuring thoughts or images that you can use instead to replace those other thoughts, to help yourself relax, to maintain that relaxed, calm feeling. You can let your unconscious mind learn all it needs to know to be able to distract you from those scary thoughts, to be able to provide you with those relaxing thoughts. And I think you will enjoy being happily unconcerned, unable to remember to worry in exactly the same way or at the same time. So from now on, when you enter that situation, you can enter it knowing you are protected. And you can tell that part of you that tries to do its job by telling you that there are things to be afraid of here, that you really don't need it anymore, and you don't want to hear it anymore. And so it can either go away or find a different game to play and remind you instead of the good things that might happen here or the fun things that might occur later. Because those old thoughts and fears aren't useful anymore. So you can relax and forget it and go on about your business, surprised to discover, perhaps, that you have been thinking about something else entirely. And you will know at that point, deep down in every cell of your body, that you won't ever have to feel that again, and it is over and done with more rapidly than you expected. Not as soon as you would have liked. You can do it now, and you can do it later. You can frighten yourself with that thought, or you can calmly relax yourself with a different thought. That's right. So practice and choose. It all belongs to you. And your unconscious mind may allow your conscious mind to remember that learning. Or you may simply remember to forget until you need it consciously. And we know, and you know, when you sleep, you can dream. And you dream dreams which your unconscious mind uses for special purposes to rearrange learnings, to put them together in special ways. And as you dream, a pleasant dream, you can do anything. And perhaps you'll remember that dream. Perhaps you'll forget that dream, but yet the unconscious mind remembers and uses it in just the right way for you. And it might be nice to simply allow your unconscious mind the freedom to explore in a very special way, to discover something of interest for you now. and you simply continue to have those certain feelings, sensations. It's nice to know that you can look at secrets in a special way and that you can do that confidentially. And I know that you can't help but begin to release those doubts that you haven't been able to truly hold on to, knowing that so many things simply go in one ear and gone tomorrow, yet that the unconscious mind keeps everything, stores everything, and can use all learnings from long ago and put together learnings in a very special way as you discover that there's absolutely no need to listen to the words that I speak, hearing only the sound of my voice. For my words can be changed in any way where your unconscious mind can use them, in a way that's right for just you. Just as this morning, as I was jogging, I could hear music, the words from Cyndi Lauper's song, Time After Time. And it's so interesting when you look at time, how many times you've remembered a happy time, a special time from long, long ago, a childhood memory, a certain toy, a special party, remembering those feelings. And you can memorize those, for they're yours, remembering it as if it were yesterday. The past, the future, the present. Simply now, time after time. And how many times on January 1st of the new year you wrote last year's date? Time after time, we remember to forget. And we learn to do it in a special way. And there's always the pleasant surprise when you discover that you've made some change, some learning, without exactly knowing how your unconscious mind did that for you. Remembering only when you make that discovery for yourself, when your unconscious mind gives you that special gift in its special way. And while your conscious mind can wonder about many things, your unconscious mind continues to learn. Now, or even later, doing that without a conscious awareness in any way. And I wonder exactly how you might like to experience that feeling of remembering to forget, so that in just a little while you can remember to forget all that you've learned, knowing that your unconscious mind will hold on to it and will give you that special learning at just the right time and in just the special way for you. Perhaps your unconscious mind will let you have that experience of leaving everything right there in the back of your mind and slowly, as you drift off into a natural, deep, rejuvenating slumber, drifting deeper, deeper down, deeply, deeply into a natural sleep. You will sleep through the night, sleeping until it's your normal, natural time to wake. You can like and subscribe and share my video. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, feel free to share. And as you drift off into that deep, natural, rejuvenating sleep, feeling so good, feeling wonderful in every way. And in the morning, you will wake refreshed, rejuvenated, feeling so good. Until I see you again, sleep well.